I'm Old Head Ed.
And I'm Mr. Beleaf. And we like to welcome y'all to Barcodes. Barcodes is a podcast where we delve into the lyrics of your favorite MCs, verse by verse.
Each episode, we invite an artist onto the show,
break down their own bars, and give the listeners a deeper understanding of the meaning and inspiration behind their music.
From underground up-and-comers to established industry veterans.
We cover it all. So join us as we explore the art of MCing and the stories behind the bars on Barcodes.
Barcodes
in the building.
Yes, sir. We're back at it. I am Old Head Ed.
Mr. Beleaf on this side.
And you know what we do here? We bring an esteemed guest and an esteemed MC to sit down and talk lyrics, delve into a verse of their choosing, deep dive, if you will. And we get them to break down the lines, the hidden meanings, and the
intricacies.
Yes,
I got that word down. That was my New Year's resolution to get the intricacies.
Every time.
That word right.
Get it
We
right.
don't talk about gibberish. Let's get it.
This episode is like every other episode, but not like every other episode, because we are going to have an esteemed guest break down the bar, so that stays the same. But this person has never been on the podcast before, and that's what makes this episode extra special.
Not only we gotta he's legendary, you know what I'm saying? So like we gotta show the flowers and give them flowers, you feel me?
Word. Who we talking about, Beleaf?
We got Skam in the building, y'all.
SKAM2.
Let's go.
Good, sir. How are we?
Chilling. What's
Okay.
up? How y'all doing?
Man, maintain
Good,
it. How you been, man?
All right. Fucking hanging in there.
Okay. Listen, that's a start.
Making it do what it do.
Exactly. Now we're really grateful for you. Honestly, you know, I say, he's taking the time and he's sitting down and whatever. But we appreciate this for sure.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Definitely.
It's an honor, man, to have you on the show.
If you're from South Florida, you would understand why. And even if you're not from South Florida and if you've been like anybody who's dedicated to the art of hip hop since like the mid 90s and on, you're familiar with Skam in one way or the other.
It's always weird. Like somebody be like when they use the L word, and I'd be like, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like,
Nah, man.
I'd be like, thank you. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like, you know.
So that's the question that's come up on other podcasts where it's like the meaning of the L word. It's like it's the origin of it is that there is a story, that you have a story. You are part of
That's true. Mediocrity can be a legend.
And correct, but it's you're something that is it's part
legendary
of
mediocrity.
You could be a legendary mediocrity MC, but we don't. That's not the case this time around. And you're someone who's weaved in and out of, you know, hip hop moments, and you have the story, so you can be considered legendary.
I mean, I would take the credit for being like, I was one of the first dudes, like especially in New York back then. Like there was nobody from Miami around golden era hip hop days, raucous. So for me, that was like, okay. But it was one of those things I used to just like say to myself, like, man, I was like one of the first motherfuckers.
Yeah.
But then when someone else says it to me, I'm like, that's true. That's true. That's true. That's true.
Bags.
Yes. Yeah, man. We're glad you could make it. We're gonna get into a verse off of a good friend of the show, off of his project. What song did you bring? What verse did you bring to break down this time around?
Organized Confusion. I do want to know why. I gotta ask him why he called it that.
And he spelled it correctly, not like
the group.
Right. Yes, correct.
I noticed that the other day. I was like, oh, he spelled it. Because anytime I hear that term, those two words together.
Yeah, of course, it's already correlated.
I'm on my Prince Poe Farrow. Put the K. Like,
yes, correct. Okay. It means that it's
It was
official.
originally, the demo version was called like Tinker Hatfield or something. He says that in the verse. So, okay. So what's like the first question?
Beleaf got a couple questions for you before we set this off.
Well,
so we know it's produced by Pharma Beats. Okay,
Pharma,
fresh off the nothing changed
except everything.
Shottie project. Shouts to Shottie. Shottie's family.
Shottie,
excellent.
Fam.
Like he's just been like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, the ascension's been real.
I mean, it started him and Tev. That's the dynamic duo.
Yeah,
it's Batman and Robin, and they still at it. But he's just been like wrangling other people.
He's steadily progressing, man. Definitely, man. Yeah. We seen his growth, man, and we hope it gets there. You know what I'm saying? Like for sure, bro.
Indeed. Got to come back and talk the album. Shottie, what's up? You know you got the open door policy over here.
Yeah, for real, man. All you got to do is show up. You got to just drive over here, my nigga.
Well, he's working on getting a spaceship, so we can't really hold him to it, man. That would cut the commute time, though.
Facts. But all right, so you brought Organized Confusion over here. Now I gotta ask you, do you remember like the kind of mind state you were in when you wrote this, and where and when more or less did you write this at?
Over the summer, I was in Berlin. It was like about because that's 6 hours ahead. So it was about maybe 3 in the morning or something like that. And I guess Shottie was probably at his shop, the Midtown Smoke.
Word.
Yeah. And he said, I heard the beat and I was like, everybody's like, oh, you always diss the producers. And I'm like, what the fuck you guys say? Why do you think I diss the producers? Like, I say something about the beat I'm not crazy about, but I'm not dissing the producers. And I remember hearing the beat and I was like, man, that shit hard.
I can't diss him on this one.
I was like, but that's never my mindset. You know what I mean? Like, Shottie's very like, yeah, but I want to hear you rap on this scam. And I'd be like, challenge accepted. Whatever, bro.
Okay.
Let's
Challenge
go.
accepted.
It was in the wee hours. I was writing a lot when I got there because I was going through a bunch of personal shit. So when I got out to Europe, I was just we got some shit, send it to me. So he sent me, his verse and the hook, and I was just like the beat, like I was just like, okay. I knew I wanted to do triplets on it.
Okay.
And I was like, I just wrote, did my little thing, sent him the reference, and he was like, that's dope, but did you listen to the song? And I was like, I think it was while waiting for his response.
Yeah.
Like I listened to it again and I was like, oh, he's talking about like some real life shit. And I was like, that's not what I was talking about.
Okay.
And I was like, nah, but that beat is hard, man. That's what
You wanted to snap.
that's what I was vibing. You know what I mean? That's what I was
That's
vibing.
how you were feeling.
But, logic is logic. And I was just like, all right, man. So I got off the phone with him. And then I wrote that verse.
Okay.
So like I wrote that right away. I was like, damn, I wrote like fucking 2 verses for this joint in less than half an hour. I was like, okay.
Nice.
I was like, man, I'm
That's
on
what
one right now. Let's go.
All cylinders are firing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I was in Kreuzberg.
Hoytsburg.
Mowgli.
Kreuzberg.
Mowgli is say it right.
Yeah, Mowgli.
Okay. Very
He would say it
familiar.
right. He's fluent in German and Turkish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. Former citizen of Heidelberg. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Heidelberg. My
Heidelberg.
bad. I'm not familiar with the terminology.
All I know is that the W's are V's. That's all I know.
That was one of them. There's some other letters too.
Yeah.
There's some weird shit.
Shouts to Germany, man. Dope. So the rundown is this: we'll have you go for 4 bars, recite the 4 bars, and then we'll just get your breakdown of the 4 bars. Beleaf and I will jump in whenever we feel like, oh, that that stood out to us, or does this mean this?
All right. Let's
We do
go.
like ultimately, yeah. That's
Before
what
we jump in, I wanted to ask one more thing.
Do it.
I noticed what you stated. You were like, you were on a writing run due to the fact that you were going through some stuff. Do you use artistry and rhyming as a therapeutic
Catharsis?
as therapy? Yeah.
Not initially. Shadow was very about that. Okay. Shadow could explain whatever he was going through way better in song than in conversation. I didn't necessarily do it as such. More so nowadays, but I don't just say anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think there is a level of catharsis.
Do you have like a sense of relief once you lay down a record? Because the reason why I ask is because I have a tendency to do that in my records, where I was like, I might be going through something, I'll write, and then as soon as I lay down the record and it's in the record and it's already mixed or whatever, it's kind of almost out of me. Like I kind of transport that shit into a record.
It's not my goal, but it happens to a certain degree. I won't usually take a whole record on one thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe outside of like some relationship shit or something like that.
Of course.
But Depending on there can be a certain level of catharsis that I get out of it. It's never my goal to get catharsis.
Of course. All right.
True.
All right, so let's get into this, man.
Gonna talk some rap nerd shit. Y'all
Please,
ready?
that's what
Let's
we're
do
here
it.
for.
We're doing this.
So you got the first four.
Oh, okay. I gotta say it.
Yeah.
All right.
You recite.
Oh, we're not gonna dare
All right,
try to
got it,
recite
got it.
scams.
All right.
So
My bad. I'm tripping. Wake up early in the morning. Ears ringing. The demons are calling. All I can hear is distortions from these dead dreams in their coffins.
Okay.
All right.
That's a way to set up that. Okay.
So, I talk about demons a lot, but I probably don't sleep that much either. So I do wake up pretty early, and sometimes my ears do be ringing. Yeah, when you think about like either me or friends, things they wanted to do, or guys or women that didn't make it, that had aspirations, or we take different paths in life, and those choices get kind of closed off to us. So that's kind of what I refer to when I'm like, dead dreams in their coffins.
And to wake up early, you said that there was an hour. Did it take you a while to get used to that time difference, being that we were 6 hour differential?
That trip, yes. Normally, no, because they say if you sleep throughout most of the flight, you don't get hit by jet lag as much.
Okay.
I was up because I saw something once. They were saying that the altitude can, I guess, kind of boost creativity or brain activity.
Okay.
So they were saying, stay awake and do creative things while you're up on a flight. So I was up that's the most I'd been up for a transatlantic flight. So jet lag, I discovered it for the first time that trip. I would be like, as soon as I stop moving, my body's like, I'm out.
This is our moment.
So
Shut down.
It took me a couple of days. days.
Okay.
But remember I was telling you, the sun comes up.
That's right.
Really
Yeah,
early.
we're speaking off camera.
So like 4:30 in the morning, sun's up.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, man. I'm like, damn, bro, I just went to sleep. So do you know what it's like to feel wanted? Or are you more familiar with the opposite? I'm numb on autopilot with a robot in the cockpit. So, clearly that was like some relationship shit. And just thinking about experiences with women over the years. And, anybody, that's stuff on a human level, somebody can relate to. Like maybe you care about somebody more than they do, or they've in another place.
Yeah.
And then sometimes people do that because they think you don't want them because you're not doing what they think you should do.
Yeah, it's
if
like
you did want them.
It's like mixed signals, and from what I get from that, the last two lines where it's like I'm numb on autopilot. Like sometimes you're just going through the motions and the routines, and it's like a robot in the cockpit. Like there's like almost no emotion there anymore. You're just kind of like operating. I
mean, but the truth is the emotion is definitely there, but it's just like it's not serving you well. So some people just dive headfirst into work.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was at it. So it was just like I was writing. And that's send me a beat. All right, I'm writing. That's the autopilot.
Yeah.
I'm on autopilot with a robot in the cockpit. Just a GoBot in a dropship that'll flow switch when the clock click. It's the same premise of the robot thing, the GoBot drop shit. And I wanted to say GoBot because nobody really talks about
Nobody really messes with robot.
But shout out to Rockwell Knuckles and Tef Poe in St. Louis. Like Rockwell was like one of the few people I ever heard talk about like GoBots.
Really?
And I was like, oh, fire.
With no shame, because everybody goes heavy Transformers.
Right. Yeah, nobody talks about
the GoBots.
Shottie was like, I sent him the lyrics and he was like, oh, I thought you said when the Glock click. I was like, he was like, scam with the gun bars? I was like, nah. I was like, nah, I don't do that.
But then with the go, so just the GoBot also, I could perceive that as like you're just going, like you were referring to. You're in a space where now I listen, and instead of like dealing, having this kind of consume me what I'm going through mentally, I'm gonna write just to push past, numb it up a little bit. So it's like I'm on the go, like I'm just.
No, I mean it wasn't that for me. It was more like I want to talk about a robot.
You want to talk about a robot,
but I was like, oh, GoBot, and it just rhymed.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately, sometimes it's not that deep, people. So, and I think I always wanted to. Like, I've definitely had enough bars where I talk about Transformers. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's cool to go GoBot in there. And then I was like, they want to talk about what I should have been and how this is not it. Drake want to talk about life, but man, that just bores me. So.
Okay. Flow switch. We already see the
they want to talk about what I should have been and how this is not it. That was more of like a projection thing. 'Cause my mom would always tell me like when I was 2, like I had high level of comprehensive reading. Like I was reading like the newspaper,
okay,
and shit like that.
Yeah.
Which I'd be like, for real? She'd be like, yes. I was like, damn. So in a way, I thought, damn, I feel like
that's very
y'all
impressive.
expected a lot of me if I was reading the newspaper at 2.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like, oh,
Yeah.
You're over there reading the newspaper at 2 and shit like that, like looking at the news articles. That's freaking crazy. That 2 years old
in
man,
Jamaica, there wasn't
that's pretty interesting.
There was a ton of shit
for a kid too. Well,
yeah, we didn't have like man. I think we only had one TV
yeah.
station.
So the distractions,
and it
are
wasn't on all
nowadays.
day.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it was like newspapers like that was legit entertainment, like the newspaper.
It's like, what happened
And
today?
the little comics.
I was gonna say, you're not talking
I
about
would
the
say
funny
the comic
pages
day.
either.
Yeah. You know, so we had a lot of political stuff going on. All right.
So that was they want to talk about what I should have been and how this is not
right. So that's kind of what I was thinking. Because there were a lot of people that was like, probably when I was young, they had a lot of high expectations. And then sometimes you wonder to yourself, like, damn, do I seem like a failure to you? It's like, is this like,
Well, you know,
is these artistic pursuits trivial to
correct compared to the promise I showed that you saw?
Right. Yeah. So I think that's what I was thinking about. So Dre want to talk about life, but man, that just bores me. That was when he was like, yo, did you listen to the record Scam?
I was about to say, is that the tie back from
I was like, well,
he wants me to talk about, well, man. And
So,
he threw it in the verse too.
I also write in my man Derek, he says I write in the meta, and that's pretty much like my understanding of that is whatever's going on, like this is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So, like on the other records where I was like, Shottie, I hate a beat without a snare, but we here.
Yeah.
I was just writing what I was thinking, but everybody's like, "You're dissing the producer." I'm like, "Fuck, like nah."
It's very fourth wall breaking.
Like
because you're giving the listener insight to like the active thoughts as you're putting the verse together.
And I think
that's pretty dope. Some Deadpool shit.
Put it to you this way: like when you sit down to write, sometimes you're like, what the fuck am I going to write? What am I talking about?
Yeah.
And so matter of fact, I think what got me doing that is the late, great Tony Galvin.
Oh, R.I.P.
Tony had a track. It was a joint with Elder Sensei. And he was like, the subject matter was like a reminiscent thing. And I was like, I don't write reminiscent records, Tony. And he says to me, well, write about how you don't write reminiscent records.
There you go.
And
the material's there. The material's there.
But that's how I started off the record. And it just went into a reminiscent record. And I was just like, oh,
they got you through the threshold.
Yeah, so that became.
There's always different approaches and different angles.
Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, it was.
Like, for real, that was brilliant.
It was game changing for me. So that's where I got into that. And so with this record, Shottie was like, "Oh, you didn't diss the producer this time." but then we were breaking this down, and I was like, "Oh, well, I guess I kind of dissed you then."
You caught the stray.
I was like, "You caught it." I was like, but to me, it's not a diss. I'm just,
Yeah.
But that's the way I am. Like, even if I'm not like, oh, I'm not excited about it or whatever, that's challenge accepted. Let's fucking go.
Yeah,
what we
still
doing?
good.
All right, cool. I can do this. You know, that's you know, Shadow got me on that. I'm very like, I seen Shadow come into the studio and turn to people and be like, yo, how you say this in Spanish? And they be like, yo, how you say this in Spanish? Next thing I know, he's got like 8 bars of a Spanglish verse. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And not even having Spanish as a language. He's like, I just need you to fill in these, and I'm gonna make that work.
Yeah.
Make it happen.
So I've just always been like, okay, challenge accepted. Let's go.
I want to go back to, they want to talk about what I should have been in. A lot of times, and you know, people who are in the rap community or who take part of this creative process, when you tell people like, oh, what are you doing? Like, oh, I rap. They already have kind of like a
there's like a connotation.
so you must have a big house and a big car and live.
Oh yeah, no one ever says that to me.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I go, where they want to talk about what I should have been and how this is not it. So it's like, so they have this like, wait, so this is what I should be because I've tell you I am a creative person, and then does that, you know, someone who's creative turn around and go, how does that affect them? Like man, if you know I share this with people, and they have this expectancy of me, and I'm not that. Like that's where I was taking it.
Oh yeah, I mean that's what I was thinking, because you know my mom would tell me these things, and I'd still be like 2, and she'd be like yes, and I'm like that's kind of crazy, and I'm like wow, people must have really thought I was gonna be like, my dad got me into comic books. You see what that did?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but greatness comes in many different forms.
It's true.
You know what I'm saying?
True.
That's true.
So definitely you have made a mark in the hip hop community, you know, all across the board. You feel me? So it's like they weren't wrong. They weren't wrong.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah,
like I did a Tribe album when I was like in my teens.
Same.
Really? Yeah. Oh, the Tribe. Oh,
yeah.
I thought you said a trap album. I was like,
he's like,
there was no trap.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I was like,
I don't even know if 3-6 Mafia. No, I think 3-6 Mafia was around. So yeah,
there was the early workings. No, and then also
shout out to Juicy J and 3-6.
Word. And they're also, I mean, the early references, because even Outkast mentioned trap in their songs.
But they were talking about like
the trap,
yeah.
Like it didn't have the
there was no music. There was no soundtrack to it.
Like
it didn't have that
correct.
Knowledge.
Correct.
I think T.I. dubbed that.
Yeah.
So I ad lib till I'm off script, but if I'm focused, then that's it. Good thing that the ADHD keeps me at bay, because I'd spin off the planet if I ever listen to what they say. So with that, the ad lib till I'm off script, that's just kind of the free form writing, the train of thought. Like, okay, he kind of gave me a general area, a general sandbox to play in with in regards to the song. But at the same time, like I was just like, I kind of want to, you know what I mean?
Spear off.
So, I was skirting the line, and then we get.
I can see, I'm visualizing like you get put in the sandbox and like, yo, just play in the sand. And I was like, okay, move the sand out the box.
Right.
I'm gonna play around the edges.
So it's a good thing that so I ad lib till I'm off script, but if I'm focused, then that's it. That's pretty self-explanatory. Like if I do lock in, like I'll write some poignant shit. If I really do. Lock in, but it's always a decision because when I talk to other writers or sometimes we're working on songs and some guys are very just used to whatever came easy to them, and they're like, well, that's what I wrote. Where depending on the background, like I come from like being under people like Spinna and even being in a room with some major label artists and R&B singers and writers, even rock people. And there's always a lot of chiseling that goes into
records,
to things, whether you think they came super easy or not. So I'm all about, I don't care how quick you did it. Like people used to come in the studio, I'm gonna knock this out in one verse. I don't give a fuck how long it takes you, as long as you give me something good.
As long as it's good,
As long as it's good, like we don't care about any of that. So that being said, you know, if I'm focused, then that's it. Good thing that the ADHD keeps me at bay. And I guess maybe that's like I might not dwell on certain things too much because I'm like, oh, what's that? You know what I'm saying?
You're distracted to a point where something that might normally throw you off course, you don't give it that much focus where that'll become like, it might become like a defeating thing, or, you know.
Well, yeah, because, you know, like I think a lot of artists can relate. Like, we can be obsessive in nature.
Overthink.
You know what I'm saying? Well, maybe. Is it overthinking? I don't know. Maybe. Is it overthinking if you're right? I don't know.
Facts, big facts. Big facts right there. Put a round of applause for that shit right there, yeah.
So I'd spin off the planet if I ever listen to what they say. And that goes, if you obsess and focus on that thing so hard, it's gonna drag you down. It's gonna fuck with you, and it's gonna fuck with your creativity. And then, you know, so yeah, I would spin off the planet. That's some shit I be saying. I'd be like, I'm about to spin off the planet. Like, I mean, I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my shit. Like, about to.
I love how you put the where you said, okay, if I'm focused, then that's it. Like, you put in the earlier bar where you're like, okay, if you zero in on this verses, it's over, right? Mm-hmm. But then you kind of relate to like whatever negativity that people throw at or whatnot. You're like, good thing that the ADHD keeps me at bay, because if I focused on that, then I spin off of the planet. Right. That's where I got what I got from that shit. That shit, that's dope right there.
Thank you, man. This is so weird. Like, I never thought, like, oh yeah, we could sit down and talk about my verse. Like,
yo, I a lot of artists, they at first they're a little hesitant, you know what I'm saying? Because like, you know, don't know what to expect. But when they start doing it, you know, like it's like kind of a relief, yo, because you always want to convey those messages. Like, you feel me?
It's like the dude walking around with pictures of his kids. He's always waiting. Like, yo, let me show you what he did.
Facts, big facts.
That's what this is like. You know? It's hard to find my voice in the midst of all this noise. A cacophony in a room of phonies. To join them ain't my choice. So, yeah, especially, I mean, that can be a pretty general statement. Like, even in regards to the landscape of music.
Yeah,
right
entertainment.
Now. Yeah, it's hard to find your voice because to get heard, it's like you have to do all these things that you might not even consider you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, you know, this one podcaster guy was like, oh, if you're a musician and, you know, you're one of those guys, I don't want to make content. I don't make content. He's like, just give up. Just stop. This is the entertainment industry now. Yeah. You know, if you want to make music just to make music, by all means. And I was like, yeah, it's true though. Yeah. It's really, so to find your voice and through all of this screaming and whatever it is, because before it used to be just do a good piece of music, and that did what it needed to do. Right. Now it's a different game now.
I feel like me, I'm one of those MCs where it's like, I feel like I get it that the landscape has completely changed, and it's like that now. It's like an online constant, constant. You have to give content or whatever. And yeah, that's 100% of what that podcast has said, where it's like, that is 100% true. Yeah. However, I don't know. I just feel like that is applied now supposedly to everything you want to do. It's not even an entertainment business.
I told somebody that yesterday. Yeah.
Where it's like, no matter you want,
not just us. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to make cookies or whatever. Well, now you got to show how you make the cookies, and you know what I'm saying, and have a whole fucking thing, a damn TV show on. Yeah.
You want to sell a house. If you want to be a realtor, you have to have an account on IG where the focus is you in the house, not the house. Yeah. But you being part of the visual of the 360 view of the house, but you got to be in every frame. It's like, normally it was like you would take the video of the bedroom, The living
And
space.
that's all you need because,
You need it.
bro, it's a house.
It's a house.
I don't need to see you. I just need
Yeah.
to see the house. Yeah,
Right,
I
it's plugged.
saw this this girl. She had a video. She was talking about the same thing, and she was like, "I hate selling myself. I feel stupid."
Yeah.
And she was basically like, "I'm an artist. I'm awkward.
Yeah.
That's why I
seen that.
make music."
I seen that exactly. Wait, she even referenced I forgot what the artist that she said. She's like she's referenced an artist that generally would never do what artists have to do now. And she's like, you won't ever get artists like that if this is the requirement to have to like constantly be out there putting your stuff.
I hear that.
So yeah, man, it's a conundrum, you know. Like I lean more on the side of like, no, we should just do the art, but like at the same time, the game has changed. You know what I'm saying? So I could understand both aspects.
So that goes back to, I do think it's an inevitability. Like you can't fight the tech. Like So that's why it goes back to, it's hard to find your voice, because I think your best strategy is to really look at the landscape and say, okay, what can I do where I don't feel silly or like a full betrayal of myself?
Yeah, yeah.
Because there's many ways to provide content, but sometimes you're going to have to dig a little to find what that happy medium is.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of thing. And I think I pronounced the word wrong.
Cacophony.
Cacophony, right?
Yeah.
You know, so I said cacophony in a room of phonies to join and make my choice. And that's always been like that. Like, even when I was young, I'd be at like industry parties and shit. And I was so Miami. I just didn't care. I didn't play the game.
Yeah.
I still don't really play the game. But
it's a Miami thing, yo.
I was terrible. I was terrible. Shout out to Rick Posada. He used to be Paul Rosenberg's roommate.
Okay.
He was a big A&R at Elektra with like Busta, Old Dirty Bastard.
All right.
When they were at like their apexes. And I remember he played, because I was a young guy in the office, and he'd be like, yo, what do you think? What do you think of this? This group we're thinking about signing. I'd be like, yo, they suck. Like now I think about shit I used to say. I'd be like, it wasn't that I didn't think it, but now I wouldn't say it. And he was like, who was that kid you brought to my office? Don't ever bring him back.
Because now, you're not taking into consideration his investment in the group, like, but you're giving him the most honest.
Never, bro. I've read old interviews that I've done, and I'd be like, I said that?
I think I was misquoted on that one.
I didn't give a fuck. I was like, damn. That was the Miami.
It's a Miami shit, bro, for real.
So Shottie say he got a new bag, but I'm still chasing the old one, like a shogun with a cursed sword from a land where ain't no sun. So, on the hook, he's
That's
like,
very visual. Like,
he's like,
visual.
I got a new bag. So, I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah. I was like, I'm still trying to get a bag. I'll take any bag. I'll just get an old one. I don't care. Like,
do you know where you left the last one?
you know what I'm saying? So, I like, I'm a big fan of what I call linear rhyming, where you take an idea and you just keep building on it.
Okay.
I remember like Eminem Proof and, these guys, like, those are the first guys that was really on that compound shit. And I like those, like Proof, Royce, those guys, they were very like about the craft of rhyming. And they would use terminology, and I was like, what? Compound? I was like, what's that? And one of the things I used to see those guys do, especially M did a lot, where, he's like, takes one thing and then he's like, oh, we're going here with it, then we're going here,
It's plotted out, like,
my laser disc will make you take a razor to your wrist, make you satanistic, make you take a pistol, cock it back and place the clip in, some shit. And I was just like, oh man, that's fire. I like that.
It takes you directly into like a whole journey, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I like the visual thing.
Yeah. The visualization.
That's where I got on, sometimes if I can get into that, like that's always fun for me. So, Shogun with a cursed sword from a land where ain't no sun. Like, that's on some real comic book shit.
The anime, yeah, I can see anime visuals on that.
Yeah. So on no day would I betray this covenant between me and Dre. It's another vocabulary thing. There's no such word as covenants.
Yeah.
It's covenant.
Covenant, yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm that guy. Like, I was like, oh, I said something incorrect. Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, we was speaking about the grammar on it.
Yeah. Back to sleep. It's the end of the day. Farmer beats. Let it play.
Okay.
And I think maybe after I was done writing this, I probably was like, all right, I should go to sleep now. Although the sun was up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, for me, it's like, cause he, shout out to Shottie. He always is like, all right, I'm doing this project. This is the song you're on, Scam. And I'm like, so he always keeps me in mind for shit. And I'm like, all right, I'm like, okay, I ain't gonna let you down. I got you.
That's what's up.
Like, that's the covenant. Like,
Word.
That's what's up, man.
How'd you end up meeting Shottie to begin with? I don't know if we ever got the
man, I got joints for Shottie like back in the day, but it's ID4.
ID4, okay, yeah.
So I don't remember exactly the when or whatever. Like, I know we have some songs. Me and Shadow have a song with them.
Okay.
On a Nick Fury beat.
Okay.
Oh, there you go. That's the plug right there. The Nick Fury.
Yeah. So back then, and I don't know, we kind of reconnected Garcia.
Okay.
Through Garcia.
Okay.
And that's
it.
Shout out to Garcia, man, because they you guys are coming up with some heat, man.
Yes.
It's that whole great minds think alike sort of thing. So,
true.
Find yourself sitting around with these guys talking about all kinds of shit that you probably don't get to talk to other people about.
Yeah. So
shout out to both of them.
Indeed. Shouts to Garcia. Shouts to Nick Fury. Rest in peace, Proof. If M watched the show, shouts to you, M.
He should. I would think he would like. I think he would like a show like this.
You think so?
I mean, that guy's about. He's about.
His work shows it. He's
about his craft.
Yeah.
No, indeed.
I think he can find an appreciation for.
If y'all not familiar, I said it before. If you're not familiar, we go back. Old World Disorder, Scam Shadow, man. Like, it'll fill in a lot of the gap. Just go dig the catalog, and it'll kind of tie in a lot of what we're discussing here, what Scam's discussed.
I wanted to give it one more shout out to you.
Please.
Shout out to Leo Da Vinci because he personally recommended you to be on this show to us. Yeah.
Right. Yes. Yeah, big shots to Leo.
There's a verse. We got a song called "Couple Bones." Okay. Like that. That's one of my favorites. Like, I love that verse. Really? Y'all should check that shit out.
Definitely, we got it. But before we get into that one, we're gonna do the research. But we like to let everybody know, where can they follow you? Where can they find you? Where can they keep in touch?
On IG, that's at SKAM2 official.
Okay.
Twitter, just SKAM2. I don't got the TikTok popping just yet. I need to do that. I gotta do that.
Again, we find ourselves in a
lazy rapper.
Yeah. You're just looking for the way to connect that to what it is that you do.
On Facebook, SKAM2 ? All capitals.
Word.
I'm there.
Yes, and you're here. And you're here with Scam.
Holla.
The cats at Barcodes. Subscribe, comment, rate,
all that good shit.
Get in all of that. Hit the notification button. And stay tuned because
Organized Confusion is coming up next.
Peace.
Yo, when you said that, I thought you meant the group.
I got it. Wake up early in the morning, air's ringing, the demons are calling. All I can hear is distortions, friendly dead dreams in their coffins. Do you know what it's like to feel wanted, or you more familiar with the opposite? I'm numb on autopilot with a robot in a cockpit, just to go by in a drop ship that I flow switch when the clock click. They wanna talk about what I should have been and how this is not it. Dre wanna talk about life, but man, that just bores me. So I ad-lib till I'm off script, but if I'm focused, then that's it. Good thing that the ADHD keeps me at bay, cause I spin off the planet. If I ever listen to what they say, it's hard to find my voice in the midst of all this noise. A cacophony in a room of phonies to join to make my choice. Shottie said he got a new bag, but I'm still chasing the old one like a shogun with a cursed sword from a land where ain't no sun. So on no day would I betray this covenants between me and Dre. Back to sleep, it's the end of the day. Farmer beats, let it play.